Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully my face isn't too bright here. All right, so we have a pretty important topic today that I'm going to go through with you. Let me just get everything sorted here. One moment. One moment. If you're jumping on, say hi. Let me know who's there. So I can see that this is a pretty curious topic. I've been getting lots of messages about this topic actually over the last few months, and this is something that I thought needed to be addressed then, because there seems to be a lot of confusion out there and a lot of uncertainty around school anxiety, social anxiety, before school, after school, leading up to school. So why not tackle it? Let's see if we can figure out a few things that we can experiment with at home to see if we can impact the school environment for your child so it's not feeling so horrific for them if that's what they're experiencing. So, 1 second. If you're on, say hi. And you'll get to ask any questions that you want to as well. So let me know who's there. This is going to be short, sharp, and sweet. So just bear with me for 1 second so I can make sure everybody else knows this is on as well. All right. So let's do it. Let's talk about it. So school. How do we reduce social anxiety? How do we do it? How can we do it? How to help your children return to school without social anxiety. And we've already gone back to school now. So what can we do about it? Well, first of all, there's actually a few things that I want to make really clear as to why it happens, where it's stemming from. And, you know, if you've learned from me in the past, if you've been to any of my online events, you know that I don't like to treat the symptom. I don't like to look at the behavior and treat the behavior. So when we're seeing school anxiety, okay, or social anxiety in the school, then we must dig a little deeper. We must go into a whole array of questioning, observations, reflection points to see where is it stemming from, because one thing leads to another when we're considering child behaviors and how the brain's developing and what they're learning and what they're expressing. It's always a symptom. So let's get to the bottom of that. Let's not always just treat this iceberg on the top. That's certainly not how we achieve any long-term success or change when it comes to your children. So I guess the first thing that I'm going to suggest and going to make really clear is, oftentimes when there is any sort of anxiety within the school, it can be for a range of reasons, but one of the most common things that I see is that there's very little trust within the school environment. And what I mean by that is not that your child needs to trust everybody in the school, because it's going to be impossible. But does your child know that you have a trusting, open relationship with their teacher? Do they see you together? Do they see you chatting? Do they see you in the environment, in the school environment? Do they see you chatting to their friends? Do they see you chatting to the principal? Do they see you having some form of relationship? Oftentimes when we make this one and only simple change, then the child starts to feel a lot more comfortable in that environment, because if you trust them, they will trust them. But if there's no certainty around that, then they do question things. They don't feel safe. They don't feel certain in that environment. So that's the first thing that I would reflect on and just see, is there a chance? Is there a time? Is there an opportunity where you could be in the school and you can just have your child witness the relationship between them and your teacher, you and the teacher? That's it. Can you build that relationship with them? The second thing is that No, when we consider any form of anxiety, I don't care if it's social anxiety, I don't care if it's school anxiety, I don't care if it's separation anxiety, I don't care if it could be any form of anxiety. I don't care what title you give it. There's a reason it exists. And if it's persisting, and if the frequency is increasing, and if the severity is increasing, then we get to ask the question, is there an opportunity outside of that particular environment, which this environment is the school environment? Is there an opportunity outside that environment for them to feel anxious, feel the anxiety in their bodies, and work their way through it, feel their way through it, where they succeed at the end? Do they have an experience where the second that anxiety shows up in their body, then you as the parent then fix the environment instantly and take away the anxious trigger instantly? So then we've actually got no experience of learning through the anxiety or knowing that we can actually get to the other side of that anxiety, because it is just a sensation in the body. Okay, we've got an external stimulus that's triggered that anxiety in the body, and then we have the sensation, and then our behaviors reflect that sensation, the sensation which we've either deemed good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant. So do we have experiences in the home, in that safe environment, where when the anxiety pops up, that you're simply present and you are supporting them through that feeling? We're not there to fix it. We're not there to change it. You're there to guide if you need to, but you're there to have them feel it and experience it and come out the other side. Have they learned that they come out the other side and they do not die? Have they felt that? Have they experienced that? Because see, when we experience that, we feel successful and we feel more confident. We feel less scared of that feeling. At the end of the day, we are responding to that anxious sensation. It could be triggered by somebody in the oval, in the playground, in an experience in the classroom. It could be triggered by a whole range of things. But if we're always focusing on just the school environment, or just that one child in the classroom that is the whole trigger and creator of the anxiety, or that one teacher, if we are focusing only ever on the one thing that's creating it, then we're never giving rise to a learning opportunity that will have them work through anxiety when the next trigger comes along. Because even if we get that child out of the classroom that is making your child feel uneasy or anxious or bullying, whatever it is, there will be another trigger that comes on the other side of that. So if we can create the experiences where they can feel it and they feel confident on the other side, then this is where they will feel like they can tackle it. There's less fear around it. And we don't need to start big. This could be tiny, but you'll see the little opportunities in your home where you could just allow the frustration, allow the anxiety with whatever they're trying to tackle or whatever fear comes up, just allow it to be there. No need to intervene, no need to fix it, no need to take it away. So if that's required, then maybe that's the experiment that we get to do this week, to support any issues that are arising before we start school. If it is anxiety, if it is worry, if it is fear, having them feel strong will have them feel strong in that environment. Okay, that they can tackle anything, that sensation is not governing them all of the time. And this is the time that we want to teach that when they are young. This is the time that we can do that. Otherwise, we have adulthood, and gosh, adulthood doesn't mean it gets easier with these sensations. It doesn't mean that, does it? So if we can teach this at an early age, then at least we are setting them up for some form of success as they start to get older. At least they're more in tune with their body. At least they're more in tune with those sensations that they might deem unpleasant, but that they know they can get on the other side and it will not last forever. So let's always get to the root cause, not just the symptoms around us. So that's it for me. Short, sharp, and sweet. They're the two things that we get to practice. They're the two things that usually make the biggest difference in these scenarios. Usually with my one-on-one clients and with my program clients, we actually figure out a whole plan and we figure out, well, what's going on during the day, before and after. We go through everything. We become the little investigators and we figure out what we can experiment with for your individual child. But for now, just for this little session, just identify it for yourselves. What could we experiment with? There will be something that's popped up as you've listened to me here. Any questions, pop them below. Happy to answer anything for you. Always here. And we've got another Q&A in the next few weeks. So if you're new to this group, hello, welcome. I'm Jessica McElveen. So I'm a child behaviour and family dynamic specialist, and this is my group. And every month we've got a range of different events and Q&As and info sessions and guest speakers and experts that come on in and share information on what's important to you, what you need to know to be able to make it through the next day, the next weeks, the next months, so that you're feeling confident in that parenthood journey. So if you've got any topics, reach out to me, let me know. I tackle anything that gets sent my way, and I can always get expert speakers in if it's not my zone of genius. So that's it from me today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy experimenting. Let's keep it simple. Let's always keep it simple. That's how we create big change for your kids. And let's always dig deeper than the surface level symptoms or behaviors that we see. That's what works for all of our clients. So bye for now, everybody. And I'll connect with you all very, very soon. Bye.